welcome to Coffee Talk. I am your host, Mashuma Saba, M. Saba, and this is our Cultural Variety Podcast. Stay tuned. Peace, and welcome to Coffee Talk Podcast Sports. Tonight, we talking boxing. Tonight, we're talking a possible matchup between KEYSHAWN Davis, Devin Haney, and then we're going to do a 2-minute read about two-time heavyweight champion George Foreman. Tonight, we pay homage to you. Thank you for tuning in, and let's start the show. This is Coffee Talk Podcast. No doubt. How y'all doing tonight? Thank you for tuning in the show. I want to start out by saying that again. It's a pleasure when we have the supporters and the followers that we have. So we definitely appreciate y'all for tuning in to the show. Three days a week, you know what I mean? So we give you the cultural studies night on Sunday and Monday nights, each and every week. And we also give you Wednesday night sports, although it's Thursday. This is a makeup for our Wednesday night sports show. And we're not your typical sports show. We like to go ahead. We don't care about who won or lost a game, but we like to give you the different intricacies that goes on in the world of sports pertaining to, our people. And then on Friday, Saturday nights, we like to let our hair down. We like to go ahead and take on a lounge appeal. And we like to talk about, just grown folk jokes and humor and laughter. And, we just like to have a good time. So that's what we do here at Coffee Talk Podcast, the Cultural Variety Podcast show. And again, thank you for being here tonight. All right. So, it's a lot of great stories that are out there on the social wire as far as pertaining to sports. A lot of negative ones, too. But here at Coffee Talk Podcast, we don't dwell in negative coverage. So if that's what you're into, this might not be the podcast for you. We don't really care about no negative coverage of our people. So about 98% of the time, you're not going to hear that here. You know what I'm saying? We like to go ahead and pay homage to our people, our doctors, our lawyers, our scholars, our athletes, our poets, our authors. You know what I'm saying? Our ancestors. So that's what we like to do here at Coffee Talk Podcast, is give you positive stories, upliftment, encouragement, empowerment. And that's just what we do here at Coffee Talk Podcast. So, tonight we're going to talk about sports. There's a great story brewing, and that is of KEYSHAWN, the businessman Davis. But before I go into that and we start our show, we never start the show without giving you the wise words as well as the flavor. No doubt. So that's where we at. So tonight's flavor, we're going to start with the flavor tonight and then jump into the wise words. But tonight's flavor, after a long day, if you need something to drink on, whether that be water, wine, beer, a latte, a smoothie, whatever it is, make sure that you have the flavor. But tonight's flavor is white wine. Why white wine? Well, white wine has many benefits to it. But tonight we selected 3. Here are the 3 benefits of white wine, tonight's flavor. White wine encourages eye health. It also improves lung function. It also is a risk reduction when it comes to possibly having signs of stroke. And also it improves your sleep quality. There's a lot more benefits into white wine, but those are your 4. I said 3 earlier, but those are your 4 benefits of white wine. So whatever you're drinking on, if you're drinking on white wine tonight, then you have the flavor. Whatever you're drinking on, you got the flavor. But I tell you what, I'm happy that you're here with me. So come on in, kick your feet up, and enjoy the show. All right. Next up is our wise words. And wise words are a tribute and us paying homage to our ancestors that left behind messages of wisdom, again, encouragement, empowerment. These quotes we like to call the wise words, and these are from our ancestors that are here today, as well as those that went on in the essence. You know what I mean? But we still can feel them. So tonight's wise words is from a brother that was born August 20th, 1931. He's 94 years old, still living. He was born in Cleveland, Ohio, out of the Mount Pleasant area. He is a boxing promoter. He's had over 500 fights that he promoted. This guy, you can feel how you feel about him, or you can respect his businessmanship, his craft, his ability to make other people rich, regardless of what they say about him or whatever they think about him. He's made a lot of people rich. Tonight, we're going to talk about Don King. And Don King's wise words is this. Give me 1 second. Don King's wise words is, Machiavelli taught me it was better to be feared than loved. Because if you are loved, they sense you might be weak. I am a man of the people, and I help them, but it is important to do so through strength. I'll say it again. These are the wise words of Don King. Machiavelli taught me it was better to be feared than loved. Because if you are loved, they sense you might be weak. I am a man of the people, and I help them, but it is important to do so through strength. Those are the wise words from Don King. And speaking of Don King, I just want to go ahead and give a shout out to several of these fighters that he's promoted. Don King promoted the greatest: Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, George Foreman, Larry Holmes, Tomas Admick, Roberto Duran, Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Chris Berg, John Ruiz, Julio Cesar Chavez, Ricardo Moriaga, Bernard Hopkins, Felix Trinidad, Roy Jones Jr., Azuma Nelson, Chris Eubank, Gerald McKellen, Marco Antonio Barra, Salvador Sanchez, Wilfred Benitez, Wilfred Gomez, and the first woman heavyweight boxer, or I'm sorry for calling her a heavyweight. I don't know what weight she was because women's weight fluctuates different, so they got different weight classes. But also, he promoted Christy Martin. And she got a movie out, man. So go ahead and support that. Go check out the movie. I don't know what the title is. I didn't do my homework on that. But yeah, he did promote Christy Martin, man. And she was a great fighter. So definitely check out that movie. You know what I mean? But tonight's wise words were from Don King. All right, so let's go ahead and get right into it. We're going to talk about KEYSHAWN, the businessman Davis. And I apologize, I didn't put his picture up. But KEYSHAWN was born February 28, 1999. He is a young man that competes out of the 140-pound lightweight division. He did fight at 135 at one time, but he's moved up to 140. He held the WBO, lightweight title. He's 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. He has 14 wins, 0 losses, and 10 knockouts. And you know what? I've been watching KEYSHAWN for a long time, man. And these last 4 fights he put on has been knockouts to a lot of fighters that haven't been knocked out. This young kid's a bull, you know. And so his last fight was just recent. It was January 31st, 2026. It was just a couple weeks ago, matter of fact. And he pulled off a 12-round body shot knockout to opponent Jermaine Ortiz. Ortiz was coming off a loss to Teofimo Lopez, but Jermaine Ortiz is one of the top 10 contenders in the WBO. You know, a lot of people say, you know, he's a good fighter, you know, but some people have ducked Jermaine, you know, but Jermaine's still on the up and coming as well. He definitely needs to win his next fight, though, or it will be more talk and hype than performance. So, you know, we're gonna send out positivity, positive energy to Jermaine Ortiz. You know, let's get you back on the wheel. You know what I mean? One of the guys I think Jermaine should fight is I would love to see Jermaine Ortiz fight Pitbull or Lamont Roach. You know what I mean? And I think that would be a decent, nice fight. Although Lamont Roach fights at 130 and 135, I'm sure he could put the weight on for 140. But that would be a great fight, you know, and styles make fights. And, you know, that would be a great fight for Jermaine Ortiz. I don't know if he should jump into that fight for his next fight after coming off 2 losses. You know, he might want to get a tune-up or something like that. But, yeah, I can see that in the future. But speaking of KEYSHAWN Davis, the businessman, that's what he calls himself, the businessman. Hey, man, we ain't laughing at KEYSHAWN, but the businessman is one of my favorite fighter nicknames. You know, all kind of fighters have nicknames, and the businessman is the shit. I like that. You know what I mean? And he handles his business very well, you know. But KEYSHAWN, coming off those last 4 knockouts, man, he's now calling for Devin the Dream Haney, also known as AKA Debo. I don't like that they call him Debo though. And that's just because I can't get that ass whooping out of my head that he took from Ryan Garcia. Now, this is no diss to Devin Haney. Sometimes you win some, sometimes you lose some in boxing. But the way it played out, the legalities and the legal situation that transpired after the fight, where Devin Haney went ahead and sued Ryan Garcia because Ryan Garcia had took some type of drug, and I won't say a street drug, but it was like a sports drug or whatever, you know. So he got his loss retracted, and so he's still undefeated. I want to say he's 31-0, about 15 knockouts or something like that. But my thoughts, and you know, I got into an argument with a guy about a week ago, and excuse me for 1 second, I got something on my screen. I don't want to interrupt this. There we go. All right. With Devin Haney, the thing I didn't care for was that you know, he was talking about Ryan Garcia cheated, and it was found that he did have something in some type of something in his system. You know what I mean? But when it comes to boxing, did that make you quicker? Maybe. You know, I'm not sure. And I say that with baseball. You know, we had a discussion about, well, the guys in baseball were taking steroids, and so that's why they have these high home run records. And my thought on it is that, you know, hey, man, they still got to hit that ball. I don't care what you put in your body to make you stronger or hit the ball farther. You still have to hit that ball. And in baseball, you know, that ball's traveling at 90, 95, 100, 105 miles an hour. you know, and you still have to have that eye coordination. Same thing with boxing. I always felt like Devin Haney's defense wasn't there. He gets hit a lot. Is he crafty? Yeah, I would say so. Does he have a great jab? Yeah, I would say so. I don't think his jab is better than Shakur Stevenson, also at 140 pounds. And I think Shakur he's a WBO champion as well with one of the belts. But, you know, Shakur has the best jab in the business right now. But Devin Haney's not that far behind. But when it comes to KEYSHAWN Davis and Devin Haney, I just can't get that ass whooping on my head. What's y'all's thoughts on that? Go ahead and leave it in the comments. Let us know what your thoughts are on Ryan Garcia and the Devin Haney fight. Do you think that the whatever, I want to call it something other than what I'm calling it, a drug, you know, and I'm not thinking of the word right now. I apologize. Let's say a sports enhancement. That would be a good word for that. So without the sports enhancement, just let me know what your thoughts are about that Ryan Garcia fight with Devin Haney. You know, Ryan Garcia knocked that boy out with a left. It was something vicious too. And he did it like 2 times or whatever. And he told him he was going to do it. Again, that's no diss to Devin Haney. That's no diss to you, Bill, his father, and his, you know, one of his cornermen and managers. I think he's a manager, but he just, your dad speaks for you a lot, Devin. So, but yeah, so KEYSHAWN's been calling him out. He says he wants him next. And KEYSHAWN only has, like I said, 14 victories, no losses. But he got 10 knockouts. The boy got knockout power, man. When I first saw KEYSHAWN fight, I want to say about a year, maybe 2 years ago, there was stuff he needed to work on, man. You know what I'm saying? He was just too wild, a little bit too wild. But over those years, he done got stronger. He seemed like he's more lean but cut. And he's a pit bull, man. This dude comes forward. You know what I mean? He loves to fight. He comes forward. You know, so he's very impressive. I just want to make sure that he keeps his mind together, though, y'all, because this dude worked so hard in his life, got up to the point where he did win a WBO title in the lightweight division, and then turned around and had a fight coming up and missed weight. Now, when you miss weight in boxing, that's kind of a form of disrespect to your team, to yourself, your family, and to your opponent. Because if you're going to be a professional boxer, you want to make sure that whenever you get ready to fight, you respect the whole school of boxing by coming in at the weight that you are contracted to fight at. So he came over a little bit overweight and was stripped of his title. He ended up fighting the guy anyway and won the fight. But then after the fight, no, you know that he, I want to say he got stripped of the title, fought this guy, and the guy got to get the title anyway. And the guy fought a good fight. However, KEYSHAWN ended up seeing the dude in the locker, in the corner, or in the locker after the fight, I should say. Let me get the story right. Him and his brothers. And his brother got into the altercation with the fighter. Actually, it was a fighter that ended up fighting his brother. I don't know. There was a fight that night, but they ended up jumping the guy. You know, straight up street shit. And it put a bad taste in my mouth for the businessman. I didn't think that was professional to be fighting in a hallway, in a locker room, after a major fight where thousands of people came to attend to watch your brother, because your brother did fight that night, and was hopefully looking to fight you. You know, I hate to use the word hope, but hey, that's really what it was. People were coming out to see you, and you know, you missed weight and you got stripped of your title. So that's what that was. But yeah, so they're asking for, or it looks as a possibility, I should say, that this fight may take place sometime this summer. It's going to be a great fight. Shakur Stevenson his childhood friend and also champion at 140 pounds and 135 pounds, was on a podcast, and he stated that he thinks that the fight is going to be contractually signed soon, and be on the lookout for that fight. KEYSHAWN Davis versus Devin the Dream Haney. So here's my questions tonight on that particular upcoming fight. Question number one. What's your favorite knockout? Is it to the head? Is it to the body? Go ahead and leave it in the comments. Let me know what your thoughts are. What is your favorite knockout to witness or give somebody if you're in a fight? Me particularly, I love a body blow. A body blow to the side. Oh man, it's like taking soul out of a person or the air out of a person when they get hit. They ooh, and they just hit the canvas, man. You know, it's tremendous. Now a headshot, somebody taking it to the temple, the nose, or the jaw, man, that's tremendous too. And usually it comes fast like a car crash. You know what I mean? And all you see is a person's legs buckling, and then they hit the ground like, boom. You know what I mean? So go ahead and let me know what your favorite knockout is. Go ahead and leave that in the comments. And while you're there, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you tell a friend that Coffee Talk Podcast Sports with Mashoom Saba M. Saba is currently on tonight. Yeah, I know it's Thursday and we're making up for Wednesday, but we are here, and this is Coffee Talk Sports. My second question tonight is that what was the very first professional boxing fight that you ever seen? Go ahead and leave that in the comments. And then question number 3 is name me in the comments, and you will get a shout out. You and your brand will get a shout out in our next episode, which will be this weekend. But go ahead and let me know who your top 3 fighters are. They don't got to be in particular order, or they can be in different divisions as well, different weight classes. But go ahead and leave your top 3 boxers. Being that I'm asking you all the questions, I'll go ahead and give you my 3. Usually I like to give you my 5, but I'm going to go ahead and just give you 3 off the top of the dome. So my favorite fighters is Bernard Hopkins out of Philly, also known as the Executioner, also known as B-Hop. Great champion. Great story. My second favorite boxer is Evander Holyfield. I always loved Evander Holyfield, and I always knew that Evander Holyfield would beat Mike Tyson. Even when Mike Tyson was at his height, I knew that Evander Holyfield would beat Mike Tyson. You know, Mike. When I think of Evander Holyfield, I think of a warrior, someone that went from cruiserweight and then went into heavyweight, fought strong, powerful fighters like Riddick Bowe in the trilogy, fought George Foreman, fought a lot of great fighters, man, and you know, out of Atlanta, Georgia. You know what I mean? Evander Holyfield. Definitely check out his greatest hits. If you want to catch up on some of these boxers I'm talking about, you can go right on YouTube, pull up their names and their greatest hits. You can see some great knockouts. My third favorite fighter, you know, I love boxing, man. However, it's really, I could say so many, man, but you said I only could have 3. So I definitely would have to go with yours truly, Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali was one of the great fighters and that came out of Kentucky, Louisville. And we all know Muhammad Ali's story. If you don't know Muhammad Ali's story, make sure you check out several of his movies. He did have some movies, some documentaries, some great documentaries. Muhammad Ali would tell people in press conferences when he would knock somebody out, I'm gonna knock you out in the third round. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He always had poems of poetry, sweet poetry, also what we call rap. But yeah, Muhammad Ali, man, and those are my three fighters. So go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know who your three fighters are in the comment box. And again, make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe as well. You know, don't let yourself miss Coffee Talk Podcast, because there's days when you may be coming home from work and you got the kids and you need a break, and we can be that escape for you. Or there are also days when we have days for just kids. You know what I mean? This show is a cultural variety podcast show, so we got a little bit of something for everybody. You heard me? All right, then. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and get into our short read. Why? Because we do encourage reading, man. We encourage our kids to become critical thinkers. We encourage our kids to build their vocabulary so they will be able to speak in all arenas. You know what I mean? Speak to all different peoples throughout the world, you know, and it just builds some morale and character about yourself being able to read, man. You know what I mean? Right now, and I don't like to mention negativity. I said that at the beginning of our show, but a lot of kids don't have no more than a third grade reading level on their parents either. You know what I mean? So we want to make sure that you read, man. And some of the things I would encourage is that if you just read one page a day, you're doing good for yourself. Reading is like exercise. The same way you do your 25 push-ups, the same way you walk your 10,000 steps, whatever, you should be reading, man. I don't care if it's a comic book. I don't care if it's a long post, you know, because some of y'all don't like the long post. I ain't reading all that. I ain't reading all that. Make sure you read, man. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing like reading, man. Again, it builds your vocabulary. It also distinguishes you from people that can't read. You know what I mean? You become a superhero. You know what I'm talking about? So make sure you continue to read. Make sure that feeds your mind, builds your will up, builds your integrity, your character, and it's going to make you a decent man. You know what I'm talking about? Or a woman. But make sure you read. All right. So tonight's short story, again, this ain't going to be but 2-3 minutes. I know y'all got to go. I know y'all's attention span might be. And then at the same time, hey, it's an entertaining show. So tonight, we'll be talking about a gentleman that made more money outside of the boxing ring, even though he was a 2-time heavyweight champion. This brother was born January 10th, 1949 in Marshall, Texas. You know, them Texas boys down there can box, man. Texas boys is just, them is some big brothers, man. Big country brothers, you know what I'm saying? Very strong brothers, man. Hats off to my brothers down in Texas. But this guy was born January 10th, 1949 in Marshall, Texas. He went on to the Essence March 21st, 2025 in Houston. He was a 2-time world champion. And as I said, he made more money after fighting than he did when he was fighting. Everybody ate off of his grill, and that is Mr. George Foreman. Yeah, man. They say George Foreman made over $200 million from George Foreman grill. And I tell you, man, everybody was getting a George Foreman grill, man, in all shapes, sizes, and colors. You know what I mean? I was reading his little documentary, and they said at the height of the George Foreman grill, that dude was getting like shit, $3, $5, $6 to $8 million checks every month. for the George Foreman grill. And you know what's a crazy fun fact story? Is that Hulk Hogan had admitted that he had the opportunity to work with that group of investors, and he passed on it, and they went to George Foreman. Ain't that deep, y'all? No doubt. So let's go ahead and jump into this short story of George Foreman. And you know I don't got my glasses on tonight, so I gotta pull the book a little bit closer and adjust the light. You dig me? What are you laughing at? Coffee Talk Podcast. All right, here we go. George Foreman won the heavyweight Olympic gold medal in 1968 Olympics with a second round knockout of Joe Frazier in January 1973. He became the only second man in history to win both an Olympic gold medal and a world title in the heavyweight division. He defended his title against Jose Roman and Ken Norton in 2 bouts, which together totaled only 3 rounds. These victories made Foreman eligible for his Rumble in the Jungle with Muhammad Ali, also promoted by Don King. The first ever heavyweight title match to take place in Africa was the Rumble in the Jungle. After his loss to Ali in that fight, Foreman retired from boxing and became a minister before returning to the boxing ring in 1987. He became the oldest fighter to regain a boxing title when at age 45, he defeated Michael Moore in November of 1994. Then that was when he took on Michael Moore and won the International Boxing Federation Heavyweight Championship, the IBF title. That is George Foreman. All right, so that is our night tonight. I would like to thank you all for tuning in tonight. If you're catching us on YouTube, thank you. Man, we've been having a few little difficulties getting live on Facebook. Yeah, some nights it works, some nights it be a little struggle. So, we're going to deal with that and get that corrected. I also want to say keep pushing with us, keep supporting the show. We got some great guests coming up, y'all. Ooh-wee. And if you like clothes and want to know about how you get your clothing line and stuff out there, man, we got some brothers that's out here and they're doing their own clothing line, man. So they're going to be on the show coming soon. Some of you might know, some of you might not know, but they got some great stories to tell. So be on the lookout for Coffee Talk Podcast. And so I just want to say this tonight, man. Thank you for all that you do to my Islamic families. PCR, I know we're going through Ramadan right now, inshallah. And I'm just happy to be here, happy to bring you the best content in the podcast world right now, man. Something positive. No, we're not talking about nothing negative. And I know negative gets you the most likes. We don't care about likes, man. We've been in this game long enough to know that we just want to bring you good content. So until next time, I want to hit you with the universal peace sign. And I want to say thank you for tuning in to Coffee Talk Podcast. I am your host, Mashuma Saba M. Saba, and this is the Cultural Variety Podcast Show, Thursday Night Sports, also known as Wednesdays. I'll catch you next time. Peace.